Can you get an SBA loan with a tax lien? My name is Ted Thomas, and since 1970 I've been a real estate investor, and for the last 30 years I specialized in tax lien certificates and tax defaulted properties, and I'll tell you about that on the channel as we go along. Today, the question I'm going to answer is your question: can you get a loan, a small business administration loan with a tax lien? So first of all, what is SBA? Well, it's really an acronym for the Small Business Administration, which is really a branch of the United States government. Now, in this video, you're going to learn a lot about how to get one of those loans and what the process the government will go through. And it's not a simple one. It takes a little while to do this, and they're very detailed. Now, this branch of the government, the SBA, is really mandated to create loans and lend to small businesses. Now, why do they do that? Well, they want to get those small businesses to grow to big business. They want to help them innovate, and they want to promote new ideas. So they really want to make this loan. The challenge is they're going to ask for a lot of paperwork. So people make a lot of mistakes on that. So I'll try to cover some of that before I go any further. Now, when I finish this video, there'll be a free gift for you that will tell you a lot about making profits in two different kinds of real estate. And I'm going to tell you about two big mistakes that people make at auction. So I'll be right back. Okay, can you get an SBA loan with a tax lien? Now, I said the Small Business Administration, they really want to loan money. However, they want to get paid back. Now think about that. They want to get paid back. Okay, so you should expect a lengthy investigation is going to take place. So they're going to review your application with great detail before they ever take any action. Now the government is going to go into every detail that you can imagine. For example, they'll go into your property records if you have them. They're going to ask you about credit scores and things like that. Now, if you want to lend money and borrow money, you're going to have some reasonable credit. So if your credit is poor, this is going to be a challenge. So you need a reasonable credit score. So keep that in mind before you get started. Now, the SBA can check on any payments that you've made. So make sure that you're giving them the right information and make sure that all your accounts are up to date. Now, this isn't going to be easy to get a small business administration loan. However, the interest rates are right, the amounts of money are right, and it makes a lot of sense. So let's assume that you've got a good track record and you've got a decent credit score. Well, why do you have a tax lien on that property? Now, that tax lien on the property could cause you a lot of problems. Remembering now, tax liens are generally 1 or 2% maximum on a property. So did you forget, or has something gone wrong? Is there a problem that can be explained? Well, you want to get into that long before you get into the lien process. Now, can the Small Business Administration give you a loan with a tax lien? Well, scratch your head on that a little bit. I'll show you how to solve these problems, okay? Now, what the Small Business Administration is worried about is, will you pay them back? Now, they're going to really question you paying them back if you owe any other government agency money. Now, what does that mean? So if you have a tax lien, they're going to say, wait a minute, hold up this application till that tax lien is paid. If you own any government agency money, they're going to question that, and they're going to know why you owe it, and are you on time if you're making payments. All right, so you don't want to wave a red flag in front of the loan officer by having a tax lien. So think about what I'm saying here. So if it can be paid off, you want to get it paid off. If there's a mistake, let's get the mistake and get it resolved. Now, in many instances, there's good reason for a tax lien to be on property. You might not even know it's there. It might have been forgotten about. I don't know what could have taken place, but you want to discover all that before you go through this lengthy process. Now, the good news is tax liens are small. They're only, like, as I say, 1 or 2% of the value. So what question am I answering today? The question that most people have asked is, can you get a Small Business Administration loan with a tax lien? Now, if you've paid all your bills on time and you don't have any other blemishes on the credit, you're probably going to be okay. If your credit score is okay, you're probably going to be okay. But the loan officer is going to insist, before they even continue with the application, that you take care of that tax lien. So think about that. Now, sometimes in private business, they'll let you take money from the proceeds of a loan and pay off the tax lien, and that can be done in a closing or a closing situation. Here with the Small Business Administration, more than likely they're going to stop your application until you get that tax lien paid. So remember what they're doing. They're not only evaluating you to give you a large loan at a low interest rate, but they're evaluating your judgment and your character. The people that have bad judgment don't pay tax liens. Okay, they're evaluating your character. Do you pay back loans when people lend to you? Title records will always show if a lien is unpaid. So all they have to do is look at any property that you own, and guess what? They can tell if you have a tax lien. So you want to be assured that you paid those, or that your application shows exactly why that you haven't paid them. All right, an unpaid tax lien could cause you a lot of problems. By that I mean it could be costly, because now if you can't get the loan, are you going to be able to grow the business? Are you going to be able to innovate the new things you want to innovate? Probably not if you don't get that loan, and that's why you're applying for it. So this could really affect your profit situation substantially. All right, not having paid a tax lien to a loan officer probably demonstrates that you're uncreditworthy. So keep that in mind before you even get started. So let me suggest some alternate ways to make sure you do this right. Now, many of my students, I've given them this approach. It's a step-by-step approach, and if you'll think about it, it's a good guide. It will get you where you can get money from friends, relatives, and people you know. Now, this is not a complicated process. Now, you don't want to do a big thing like putting ads in the newspaper or anything like that, because the Securities and Exchange Commission, they have some severe penalties if you go out and try and raise money. That doesn't mean from 8 or 9 or even 10 of your friends that you can't raise money. So don't even dream about asking them for $25,000 or $50,000. What'll make a big mistake for you is asking for a lot of money and doing it fast. First, we have to kind of open up communications. I'll tell you about that on video number 2. But for now, just know that with a limited amount of training, we can show you how to solve this problem of needing money. We can solve the problem of needing money. You can have a better future if you're willing to give someone else a better future. Now, what do I mean by that? Your friends want to make more money. They want less work and more money. That's natural. All right. What if you could get them more income and just on a small amount of money, and then kind of grow from there? So they'd like to know about that. Now, maybe your friends just don't have a lot of entrepreneurial skills. Maybe they don't want to be involved in finance. Maybe they just want to do whatever they're doing, but they'd like to make more money. Well, all of those people are actually located in your telephone. So this is not going to be difficult. Finance is a little concerning to every business person, and now it's concerning to you, because you want to grow, you want to innovate, and you want to have a better business of what you're doing. The money is always going to be available. The world is awash in money. However, those money lenders want to have security. So the growth in your company and the growth that you'll have personally will come from getting money from other people to kind of grow this business. Business always grows, but it needs money. So next what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you what I've done with some of my other clients so that you can understand this a little further, and you can start thinking about 8, 9, or 10 people, or even less, with some small investments. Now, here's what I don't want you to do. I don't want you to go out and ask anybody for $25,000 or $50,000. If you do that, I'll assure you, you'll scare them half to death. Don't ask for $25,000 or $50,000. If you do, well, when you're going down the grocery aisle, they'll turn around and go to the other aisle. They don't want to see you because you've scared them half to death. It's too much money to start with, so we're going to teach you how to start small and kind of grow it. Now, if you want to earn money, you're the same as they are. They want to earn more money, but they want to do less work, and they want to make sure that their money is going to be secure. So don't ask them to lend you big dollars. Just think about small dollars. So what are we talking about today? Well, your question was, could you get money for an SBA loan with a tax lien? Well, let's go to part 2 of this same video, and I'll show you what has worked for many of the other clients. Now, all you have to do is go to part 2 of the same video. Now, below me, there's actually a free gift, and for those of you that are concerned, like I'm concerned, about the big mistakes people make at auctions, I'll tell you those 2 mistakes right now. Mistake number 1 is they don't look at the property. Now, what if that property was next to a chicken farm? Can you imagine all those chickens, what a smell that would be the next day or on any hot summer day? Or the other big mistake people make is they're concerned, and what they do is they want to buy, they're excited, they want to do something at the auction, they've made up their mind that they're going to do well, and then they start bidding and they don't have an exit strategy. If you don't have an exit strategy, for goodness sake, don't even be dreaming about buying a property. Now let's go step back. Those people that bought a property without looking at it, what if there was a hurricane a few days before? What if there was a fire? Okay, what if there was a windstorm? All of those could create damage to the property. So you want to avoid those two mistakes. Now, I'm Ted Thomas, and I have two questions I'm going to answer before I leave. But remember, you're going to go and learn some of those finance things on part 2 of this video. People say that all the time. How do you decide? Well, you can invest in your own neighborhood with tax liens and deeds. You just have to learn how to do research and research the properties. However, simultaneously, you could be sitting at your computer, and if you lived in Miami, you could still be researching in Seattle or Everett, Washington. So once you learn to use the computer, you can find properties anywhere in the United States. There will be 2.5 million properties go to tax defaulted auction this year. Okay, what's the highest yield available on tax lien certificates? Okay, the lowest I've seen, so that you know, is recently it's in Suffolk County, which is in Long Island. And the highest I know of right now are the counties in Illinois, where they can pay up to 36%.